Second advantage, specialization. Definiteness of purpose encourages you to specialize, and specialization leads to perfection. Your success in life will depend a great deal on your specialization. Andrew Carnegie believed in specialization. He was firmly of the opinion that regardless of one's vocation or definite major purpose, he must eventually specialize. General education is advisable until you have selected your purpose in life. When you have found the right combination of your own basic aptitudes, physical and mental capacities, and desires, likes and dislikes, and the corresponding opportunity to utilize them, you should immediately begin to acquire specialized knowledge in your major interest field, the things you most want to do. Definiteness of purpose has a way of magnetizing the mind so as to attract to you the specialized knowledge necessary for success. Third advantage, budgeting of time and money. Definiteness of purpose will induce you to budget your time and money and to plan all of your day-to-day endeavors so they will lead to the attainment of your major purpose. Time budgeting always pays dividends because each unit of time is made to yield a corresponding unit of progress toward the goal. Money is used to best advantage to maintain the standard of living established and to assure the passage of certain mileposts along the road to ultimate success. This may call for the possession of specific amounts of money at definite times. Fourth advantage, alerts the mind to opportunities, gives courage for action. Definiteness of purpose alerts your mind to recognize opportunities related to the object of your major purpose, and it inspires the necessary courage to act upon these opportunities when they appear. Here are examples of this from the lives of men who are well known to everyone. One of them is Edward Bach. He was the man who came from Holland as a small boy, not even speaking the English language, became editor of the Ladies' Home Journal, the greatest magazine of its kind in the world. But he didn't get there in a single stride, you may be sure. He kept his mind alert to every opportunity along the way which would serve his purpose. In his famous book, The Americanization of Edward Bach, he gives the details of his rise from dire poverty and ignorance to a place of eminence in the world of letters. So powerful has been the influence of his book on American life that many have said it might be better to be called the Bachanization of America. While still very young, Mr. Bach started writing to famous Americans whose names he read in the encyclopedia. Many of these people, amused or amazed at his nerve and originality, replied. He gathered their replies into what became the most valuable collection of personal letters from famous people in this country. His collection attracted the attention of the newspapers who sent their top-notch reporters to interview him, and they sought his permission to publish the more famous of his letters. All the while, though, Bach realized that his hobby was costing him money rather than earning for him. So he decided to do something about it. For the moment, his major purpose became that of making some money out of the wide acquaintanceship with famous people which his letter writing had made possible. His mind immediately became alerted with this definiteness of purpose. Note carefully what happened. One day he saw a man open a new box of cigarettes and take out of it a picture which he threw on the floor. When the man had gone, young Bach picked up the picture, which was a photograph of some famous actress of the day, with a suggestion to a purchaser that was one of a series which, if collected, would soon form a complete set of pictures of famous persons. Bach turned the piece of paper over and noticed that the back side of it was perfectly plain. His alert mind immediately saw this as an opportunity to fulfill his major purpose. He recognized that the value of the enclosure would be greatly enhanced if the blank space were devoted to a brief biography of the person pictured. He sought out the cigarette manufacturer and learned the name of the lithographic firm which printed out the enclosures. He proceeded immediately to this firm and explained his idea to the manager. The manager promptly said, "I'll give you $10 apiece if you will write me a 100-word biography of 100 famous Americans. Send me a list and group them, as, for instance, presidents and vice presidents, famous soldiers, actors, authors, etc. Thus came Bach's first literary assignment. Soon the demand for his short biographies became so great that he could not do all the writing himself, so he offered his brother $5 apiece for all that he would write. Before long he had 5 writers busy turning out biographies for the lithograph presses. Bach, of course, cast himself in the role of editor, which was to indicate the direction his future life would take. This is just one example of how a mind alerted by definiteness of purpose recognizes opportunities and inspires the courage necessary to seize upon such opportunities when they are presented. Mr. Bach's life was filled to the brim with such incidents. One more will suffice to illustrate the point. One night young Bach was at the theater. It was the custom then for men to leave the ladies and go out for a smoke or a drink between acts. The ladies had little to do except read the program. Bach turned his attention to the program and noticed it was large and cumbersome, poorly printed, and generally very unattractive. He conceived the idea of making a smaller program, one which could be more conveniently held in the hand, and including in it some interesting reading matter. Next day he prepared a dummy of his idea and discussed it with the theater manager. Also, he pointed out that where previously the programs had cost the theater money, he would supply such programs free of cost for the exclusive rights. Bach then formed a partnership with a friend who had more extensive experience in publishing and advertising than himself. Realizing that their idea might be copied, Bach proceeded to get exclusive rights from all the theaters. The business flourished, and this publishing alliance eventually went into the regular magazine field and created what was later known as the American magazine. You will notice that young Bach indeed exhibited definiteness of purpose and profited by the alertness of his mind which resulted. He later pioneered what we know as the syndicated column in our daily newspapers. He conceived the innovation of the women's page, and eventually, of course, became perhaps one of the greatest molders of feminine opinion in the world. If you can see an opportunity as quickly as you can see the fault of others, you will soon be rich. Fifth advantage, develops the capacity to reach decisions. Definiteness of purpose tends to develop the capacity to reach decisions quickly and firmly. Successful people make decisions quickly, as soon as all the facts are available, and change them very slowly, if ever. Unsuccessful people make decisions very slowly and change them often and quickly. Read that last sentence again. Ponder over it. Copy it down on a separate piece of paper and pin it up in some conspicuous spot where you will see it often. It is a very valuable key, so valuable in fact that if you receive no other idea from this lesson, you would have received full value for your tuition. Remember the fact stated at the beginning. Only 2 out of 100 are ever able to make up their minds what it is they want in life. The reason is they cannot make a decision. We could take you into the office of a man who is quite well known because of his active membership in a particular lodge and show you his desk. In one corner, there is an accumulation of magazines published to his trade, dating back for months. They contain articles he's going to read someday. In the center of his desk is an array of odds and ends, including samples of materials used in the conduct of his business, which he requested salesmen to submit, and the purchase of which he is going to make someday. On the right-hand corner there is a pile approximately a foot high of letters, file folders, ragged newspaper clippings, and other pieces of scratch paper with notes on them, which is what is left of a proposed advertising campaign that has been hanging fire for a long time, and is no nearer actual adoption and carrying out than it was when presented to him. This man is supposed to be an executive of a municipal utility, and he earns a modest sum because his desk is indicative of his mind in general. He has never been able to make a decision. He manages by crisis. That is, when things have drifted along to a point where something simply must be done, he makes some temporary arrangement to bridge the gap and then crawls back into the comfortable rut of procrastination. From a lengthy study of this man's mind, one would feel sure that he is mentally capable of earning several times his present salary, but he will not discipline his mind to make decisions when the facts are available. This point has been stressed because it is the little thing that makes a big difference between the 98 who drift through life without purpose and the 2 who become leaders and the doers and who set the pace of the progress of our world. This completes this section. If you would like to purchase the book from Amazon, please click on the link at the top of the description below.